All
Okay,
right. Well,
Bandie.
hello.
Randy, can I intro you really fast? Hey,
You can. Look at me trying to
okay.
steal my own thunder.
No, I am just so thrilled. You guys, Brandy ranked to senior keep that on, please. Hey Ben, can you take her for me? Um, Brandy ranked to senior gold, ruby, and senior ruby in 2024. And I just wanted to say she has cracked the code of duplication. And I wanted her to train on tonight on the call tonight because I know so many of us are looking for that, right? Looking for those pieces, those teams higher than gold, higher than senior gold. And really, it takes duplication to get people on our team working the business. And so I thought, knowing the duplicative work, and sometimes I think we can miss the step or we can miss those pieces. And so I wanted her to detail tonight what she's doing on her team to initiate that duplication. So, Brandy, so thankful you can be on with us tonight. Go ahead and take it away.
Okay. I don't know if Megan's internet is sketchy or if it's mine, but if I cut out a bunch, just let me know. Okay. So it's kind of funny because when she asked me to do a call about cracking the code of duplication, I asked myself first if I have yet done that. and it's a little nerve wracking to not only talk about this, but also to follow all of the jewels. Holy cow. Like, I hope that everyone that's on here was able to listen to all of that earlier because, like, I think it was Angie that said, like, it doesn't matter how many times you hear these stories, you still hear something new every single time, or you have that realization of, like, oh my goodness, we haven't gotten nebulizers out and all the things. So, anyway, okay, I'm gonna start off. This is not something that I had planned, but I do want to start off with a couple of verses because as I was planning this earlier, I was like, okay, we are in the business of people. And I was telling my friend Lisa Goodwin earlier today, I was like, Carissa Casey did this entire team call one night. This has been probably a year ago about just loving people. And I'm going to read two verses that are just going to kick us off. The one that Carissa shared was Romans 12:9 through 10. And I actually wrote in my Bible a note that it's from Carissa Casey. I didn't write her name. I wrote what she said. But the verse is, let love be without hypocrisy, detest evil, cling to what is good. Love one another deeply as brothers and sisters and take lead in honoring one another. And what her comment was that I wrote in my Bible was to truly delight in people. And I will never forget that. Like, as I think of how I'm serving my team and my people, I just make sure that I am truly delighting in them. And then something else that I want that came just to my mind before I was preparing all of this is in John 13:34. And it says, I give you a new command, love one another just as I have loved you. You are also to love one another. So we were already supposed to love one another, right? This new command was that we are to love like Jesus. And that is a whole new concept, to love someone like Jesus loved us. So I want everyone to kind of think about that as you are serving your people, because you will hear over and over and over again, we're in the people business. We're not really in the supplement business. We're in the people business. And the best way to serve our people is to love them. Okay. So, with that, I also encourage everyone to pray over your business and pray over the people who are going to do this business with you, right? We can't, there's nothing more powerful that you can do for anybody than praying for them. Seriously. And I also learned this really valuable lesson from a good friend of mine recently, that you're not just praying for people. It's one thing to be like, oh, you're in my thoughts and prayers, but serve the people you are praying. And when I mean that, I don't mean like, I don't mean like be up all in their business, but like truly serve them through prayer. Whatever you're praying for them, make sure you're checking up on them. Make sure you're like truly devoting yourself to that concern. Okay. All right, that is how I'm going to kick it off. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. So I kind of like when I was putting this together, I was like, how do I want to approach this? And I kind of named it something myself. It's cracking the code of duplication, but we want to do it with the grit and the grace through the ebbs and flows of each season, right? Because you can be doing all the things for all the while and then not have any like success in your mind, right? So I'm going to kind of go through like how to stay in the grit season in the duplication because it's hard. Um, but it's not at the same time. We have that grit and we have that grace. Like it's really, really hard, but it's only hard if you make it hard. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. So we're going to talk about grit first. We have to have enough grit in our businesses to keep going and keep working when everyone seems to be telling you no. Okay. If you were along for the ride when I ranked Ruby, okay, you will know that I had more no's in a 24-hour period than what some people have in an entire year, okay? Because I was sending all the messages and I was getting all the no's. And then sometimes it's going to feel like because of that, you are working this business all by yourself. But that's when your grit has to come in and you have to make a choice like, okay, am I going to keep working this by myself and accepting all of the no's? Or am I going to keep finding those yeses because they are out there, right? So, here are some questions that you are going to ask yourself as you are searching for your new people, okay? How did you get to silver? How did you get there? How did it feel getting silver? How did that rank up feel? Can you do that again? Okay. Those are the three things because they will tell you this whole business is wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. And I am here to tell you that the things that I did to go silver and then senior silver and gold and ruby and blank, 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 I did the same things over and over and over again. Okay. So I just went gold twice to go ruby, right? That's all you got to do. Senior gold twice. Sorry. I just went senior gold twice. If you're trying to hit senior gold and you're like this close, you're almost there. And then just do it again. Like whatever you did, do it again, right? And how are you going to find your leaders in that process, right? Because we can't do it on our own. I don't recommend you do it on your own, right? You can do it on your own, right? There was somebody who went diamond like almost on their own, and I can never remember her name, but I don't think she would recommend it either. Find a team. How do you find your leaders? Okay. Why does no one want to share with me? How come I can't get anyone to post? I'm never going to have a team because no one wants to do this with me. Raise your hand if you, well, I can't see anybody. Turn your cameras on, folks. Okay. If you have ever felt that way, right, you can make a little comment or raise your hand. It stinks. And I'm going to tell you, I have felt that way so many times. Like, nobody's going to want to do this with me. They don't want to do this with me, right? But they do. Okay. You just have to ask them. So, who are you asking whenever you're trying to find your leaders? Who are the people that you are asking? And also, is it the same five VIPs that you've asked already? Are you asking the same people over and over again? Because that's something that I had to really ask myself in my rank up to Ruby. Am I asking new people or am I just asking the same five people that maybe posted for me that one time? And so now I need them to do it again, right? Who are you asking? And then how are you asking them? Are you asking them in ways that it's able to like meet them where they're at or show them where their vision might be, right? Because you may not have the same vision as them. Okay. Um, are you trying to ask them in multiple angles and multiple avenues, or are you asking the exact same way every single time? Because I got myself in a rut too. Like we all get in this rut where we have the same verbiage every single time, and we can't get out of our head for that because that's the vision that we have for them. Maybe that's not where they're at, right? So, okay, I'm going to ask you something. This is your own homework for you, okay? This is something that Jessica Heffley asked me and probably a room full of people at convention. I really don't remember where I heard her say this. It was either a one-on-one with her or at convention because I did those both very close together. But she said, okay, this is all impossible. This whole business is impossible unless I do XYZ, right? What is your unless? This is impossible unless, right? So it's unless what? Find out what that unless is. Unless what? Okay? Because once you find that, you're going to need to use a lot of grit to conquer it, right? Do you know what my unless was? I left convention with that mindset and I went Ruby. Okay? I wasn't even close to Ruby, but I had that mindset. I could go Ruby unless, or I can't go Ruby unless I do what? You know what my fear was? It was cold messaging people that I had never met. I was really good at messaging people from high school, people who I maybe worked with at one time, people from church, acquaintances. Like I was really good at that, messaging people that I had never met. Whew, that's hard. And I had to start doing it. And that was my unless. I can do this now because I took out my scary thing, right? The big scary thing. Okay, now I'm going to switch gears and we're going to talk about grace. I don't want to take up a ton of your time tonight. So if I am like flying through this, just bear with me. I do have someone that I want to speak at the end. So I'm just going to keep going. But next we're going to talk about grace, okay? Because we can have all the grit in the world and man, we feel tough, right? Grit is like when I think of grit, I think of John Wayne, like we're tough and we're like anyway, I won't get into that. But grit is an awesome concept and it's something that we really need for our businesses. But grace is mandatory for all of our seasons of life. Okay. So as we're duplicating and as we're finding these people, we have to have grace. Okay. This grace is not only for you, but it is for your customers and your new VIPs. Okay. And your sharers. So, what I'm meaning is you're going to have to give yourself grace when you don't reach your goals. Okay. We all have been in a season where we did not reach a goal. You have to give yourself grace. You have to give yourself grace when you forget about a conversation because I do that all the time. I have people who, April Holkenbrink, I will shout you out. She will like text me and be like, hello, we had a conversation going on. I have to give myself grace for that because that I always feel so bad when that happens. And you have to have grace with yourself if maybe you don't handle a closing the way that you thought you should. Like maybe you look back and you're like, I just don't know that I handled that well. And now that person's like, not, I'm never getting this closed, right? So, are you able to step back and assess? Are you able to step back and assess your work to life, like mom life, wife life, friend life, etc.? Are you able to step back and balance all of that out while you're trying to build a team, while you're trying to duplicate? Like it gets very overwhelming. You have to have grace in this season because there's a lot of you on this call who are so desperately wanting to build a team, right? You want that so bad that you're exhausting yourself and not giving yourself grace in the other areas. Okay. So you have to slow down and give yourself grace. But this is where the duplication comes in. You also have to give the people and on your team grace as well. Sometimes, and I talk to my team about this a lot, and I've talked to Megan about this a lot. Sometimes I expect for people to work and think the way that I do. Okay. In my best Grinch, I'll be like Grinch, wrongo, right? Not everybody's going to think and work the way that you do. So we have to get that out of our heads. We have to give them grace. Your sharer may have a completely different goal than what you had for them. You had a goal for them that they may have different for themselves. And you have to meet them where they're at, right? And this has probably been the biggest trick for duplication for me is meeting people where they are. Some people are going to hit silver or senior silver and that I mean they are just that's all they wanted and they're so thrilled with that and you're going to have to be thrilled with that too. Okay? And that's going to be hard for you because you see the vision of what they could be as an emerald. You've already cast that vision for them, but you have to meet them where they're at because Megan did this with me. I I had no intentions of sharing this business. None, right? When she was vision casting for me, she was really good at meeting me where I'm at and vision casting for senior silver. Like that was going to be so exciting if I had 9 people, and she was able to meet me there because she knew that anything above that was terrifying to me, right? So, meet them where they're at. Then they might cast a bigger vision later, but you can't give it to them all at once, right? So, the biggest thing with duplicating is you need to have clarity in your conversations with what you are expecting. So like let's say you just pop in and you're just like, "Hey, would you want to share with some of your friends?" And they say no. And you're like, "Okay, they told me no." Instead, you could have a little bit more clarity by whenever they like tell you their wins. You're checking in on them and they're telling you their wins. And instead you're like, "Oh my gosh, like that is a post. That is can I make a post for you?" Don't even wait for them to say yes. Make the post, send it to them and say, "You should post this with a picture and see what happens." Have absolute clarity of this is what I want you to do, right? Because if you ask them an open-ended question, sometimes they're going to be like, "I don't really know that I want to share." But if you give it to them and you hand it on a platter, they're going to be like, "Oh, okay. She already did it for me. All I got to do is post a picture." In the famous Megan Goff words, I don't know, it might be fun, right? Like just hand it to them on a platter. So here's something else as you're like doing this in your vision casting and you're giving them clarity in your head as the leader, because everyone on here is trying to be or are leaders, right? You want them to rank up. You don't want you to rank up. Okay. I had a huge mindset shift whenever I had some girls who like just truly wanted goals, right? They wanted to hit that gold or they wanted to hit that senior gold. It was no longer about my rank up. It was about theirs. And it made it so much more meaningful when I started seeing theirs numbers rise. Can I tell you, one of the most fun nights that I had was last month. I called my girls individually and like looked at their numbers and like getting them to that rank up. Do you know how fun that is? I didn't even know what my own numbers were. Megan was like, "Where are you at? Where are you at?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't really care." Like these girls are, I had one girl that was so stinking close to Ruby. It was the most exciting thing. So okay, I'm getting off track. I always do this. This we could be here all night. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about um is okay, I want to tell you a couple more tips of things that I did and then I want to bring a guest on. I need to make sure she's on here. Yep, she is. Okay, so a couple of things that I do for easy duplication, okay? It cannot get any easier is three-way conversations. And here is why. When I put someone in a three-way conversation, the person who is sharing their link, okay? So let's say I'm going to just use April as an example because you guys are well acquainted with April. She was a absolute beast at this. Like she used three-way conversations all the time. And what happened was she started sharing her link. She didn't quite know what to suggest as far as products go. So she would put me and that person in a three-way conversation. Do you know what April gained from that? She learned all of my systems. She learned how I talk to these people, how I show them the Candida chart, how I talk about Candida, how I recommend things. She learned all of it and she utilizes three ways still. And she already knows how to do the things, right? She just does it for that third party validation, which is very important a lot of times. But the three-way conversations are not just for you to help your L2, it's helping that L1 learn all of your processes and all of your steps on how you treat your customers. Okay. Three-way conversations, make them do it. Make them do it. You're going to have some people who will be very resistant towards it because it's going to scare them and it's going to make them think that you're like grading them or something. I don't know. I don't know why people are so scared, but they are so valuable. So do three-way conversations. The other thing that I do is I make sure that every single follow-up avenue, there's a really good one. There's a roadmap on why can I not think the One Team Momentum page up in the files. You can like look up the complete follow-up guide of how to check back in on people, whether it be about the business, whether it be about the products, or after they've started the products. There's all those valuable things. And then I also show them my own personal one. I show them how I follow up through Project Broadcast. I send all of that to them. So guess what? When they are starting to sell the products, they have that whole follow-up system and they're utilizing it. Something else that I do, and I highly recommend this. until your person has ranked about gold, okay? We're going to say gold. Unless they're special, okay? Like Lisa Goodwin, okay? She's going to talk here in a minute. She already knew the ins and outs of network marketing, right? I did not have to handhold her. I showed her one time and she was just like gone, right? But until they're about gold, you need to be the one that is helping them check in on their people, right? So, like, you're going to be the one making sure that they're getting started on the products correctly, that they're following the schedule correctly, like all the things. That is going to be really valuable for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's giving that L2 or 3 your support. It's helping you introduce yourself to them. And number two, if your sharer doesn't want, like, to go full on with the business, it's not as scary to them if you're helping handhold and give them that third party validation. Okay. Okay. So I want to introduce a girl on our team who has not really talked much on these team calls. So I wanted to bring her on tonight because she is my downline, right? I've known her for years and years and years, but she has been in network marketing for over 29 years and she has so much grit and grace about her and duplicating that I really wanted her to just share a little bit. Um, I think that one of the things that Lisa does very, very well is she leads with love, but I really want her to tell you all, like, the things that she is saying in order to get people to share. And just like where are you, Lisa? I keep losing my there you are. Okay. So Lisa, she is just she doesn't stop. She doesn't give up. There's so many things I could say about her. Now that I'm looking at her in the face, I can it makes me smile. I'm just saying, she will start a conversation and that girl follows up like a queen. Okay. So I just want you guys to hear from her. Lisa, if you don't mind unmuting, tell us all the things, all the secrets. Oh, she dropped us. How dare you?
I'm so sorry that
You're
I'm stuck in my room here.
fine.
Happened.
I am too. You know what I was gonna say? Never did I ever, as a child, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Never did I think I'd be in my bed
Right.
working. Like, what is this?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I just have I she told me, Brandy told me that I was gonna talk a little bit. So I did make some notes. I think the things that make it easy for me to follow up and the things that help me to lead with love is because I've learned a long, long time ago. For one thing, the reason that your customers are here is because of the product. And I think we forget about that. It's really easy to forget when we're wanting to rank up and hit our goals. And it's really, I I don't know how I say this except that I'm very intentional about loving them without dollar signs in my eyes. It or even sometimes it's not about the dollars for me, it's about the healthy competition and the trying to get to the next level because I'm super driven. And they know that if you can't lead with love, like they can sense that. And I've worked really hard so people don't sense that for me because it's really about them. And so I learned a long time ago to stay really close to your product because that's why they're there. And you stay knowledgeable in your product and you learn everything you can because it's about helping them. And it also you lead by example, and so when you're pouring into them and it's about them, it's about like how what are your wins, how's this product working, um that's kind of what I lead from, like, and but I want to know about them. And with this business, I love the part, it is very personal, it's very intimate, and for them to be vulnerable enough to share with you, you have to respect that and love them for that, and really just continue to follow up with them about that. Like I don't leave them like high and dry. And I tell them, I'm like, I am in your hip pocket. I am right here so they know that I care. And I always make that first when I'm following up. Um, you know, some people immediately are like, how do I make money about this? Like, how do I do that? okay, but I'm still going to be like, is the product working for you? And I ask a lot of questions. I figure out why are they not sharing? It's not about, do you want to share? There is always a reason that people don't sign up. Sometimes that's money. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's a bad experience with something else. But when they've been in it a bit and they're seeing these great results, but it's like, yeah, I'm talking to people, but they won't let you in those 3 ways. They won't let you help them. It's figuring out what it is, like what are they not doing? And sometimes it's as simple as they're just sending the link and not talking to them. They're not talking to them and helping them develop the relationship. So I really feel like that's a lot of what I've been doing. And then respecting them and loving them right where they're at, because it's one of those things, if you've never done any kind of personality tests or learned personality, like if you come on super strong, and I learned a long time ago, I can do that. Like I'm so driven and I'm so motivated, and I can be like, you are going to be my next superstar. I am going to be like all about you. And I see it, but they don't see it in themselves because the average person has never had anyone believe in them that much. And so you have to meet them, like Brandy said, right where they're at. And if they're soft spoken and no one's ever poured into them, they don't know how to respond. They literally don't know how. And so you have to just find a common denominator with them and encourage them in their way. Now, there might be someone else. I can be like, girl, we've got this. We're doing this. And it's a totally different perspective, but you have to know when to switch gears. When I finally got it, and I'm just going to be honest, I feel like I have it mastered now with this business, but other network marketing, it took me years to figure that out. And so you really have to figure that out. You can't come on too strong. You got to really love them and be okay. And I have 2 or 3 people on my team that are sharing. I am seeing these amazing wins with them because I realized really quickly I had to like back out a little bit and find out why they're not doing what they're doing, and praising them for figuring it out. For the simple post, like here's the post, like that's the post, just what Brandy said earlier. It's like, oh my gosh, that's what you've got to post that. And now I'm seeing them just do it. They're just posting, and I'm like, look at them go. I'm sharing your post. Like today I shared somebody's post for my team because I was like, that was really good. And I shared with the rest of the team those posts. I shared that in our message stream. I share that. I mean, like, these are so good. Like these girls, these are so good. You should use them. And so it's happening. That's what's happening. And so I really feel strongly it is every person is individual. None of us are the same. And we do have to love them like Jesus does. Jesus knew them before, they were even in the womb, like everything about that. And so we're not all alike. If we were, it would be so boring. And so we have to find that within them. And they sense every bit of that. When they know they're special, again, you may be the only person in the world that makes them feel special right now. And so it's huge. It's huge. And it makes such a big difference. So I think that's it.
Oh my gosh. Aren't you guys glad I made her share? I'm just going to say she is under me, but she coaches me so many days. Like there are so many times where I'm like, man, I got this going on. And she leads with love. She even leads her leader with love. Thank you so much, Lisa. So I am going to piggyback a couple more things, and then we're going to close it up because it's been about 30 minutes and I know that you guys have been on all night. So I had heard an analogy, and I can't remember who gave this, if it was on one of our team calls or not, but it was about a waiter who had a full pot of coffee, and he would come to each table, and ask you, do you want some more coffee? And at the time you would cover your cup. No, I'm good. I'm good. And so he'd leave. Did he leave for the rest of the night? No, he didn't. He would come back and say, hey, would you like some coffee now? And you would say, nah, I'm good. But then maybe the third time he comes back to the table, you do need more coffee. So he fills you up. And that analogy made so much sense to me in how we are asking our people if they want to share or not, or even products too. They may not need them that first time you ask. They may not want the business that first time they ask. I mean, hello, I think Megan asked me probably 4 or 5 times before I shared. And it wasn't always the same way. She always asks in a different way to meet you where you are. And I think that, so there was the coffee analogy, and then those of you who were at retreat with Megan and Angie, they did this analogy of, they had all of these cups turned over, and there was candy under certain ones of them, and you had to hurry up and flip all the cups over. Had you not flipped over all the cups, you would have missed 20 pieces of candy out of the 100 cups, right? And if you don't start looking at things that way, like, oh, I could have had 20 yeses instead of, well, I had to put up with 80 no's. You can't stop at the no's, right? We have all had, you guys, I need to do an inventory of no's, right? Because it was once said that the no, meaning N-O, means they just don't know, K-N-O-W, enough yet, right? So you just have to keep asking and meeting them where they are and figuring out, why are they saying no? Like Lisa said, she's really good at trying to figure out, why wouldn't you share? Because in our minds, we're like, why wouldn't you want this? So, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I just saw, and you know what? I will pass it to Megan because I want her to talk a little bit more about the details on this. We have a big challenge coming up called the 100 Message Challenge. And this is something that I did last year, and I highly encourage for everyone on this call to do it this year. I think that's what it's called. Is that right, Megan? But if you're scared of messaging people, the cold messages, now is the time to do it with us. We're doing it as a group. There's accountability. Those of you who, I don't know who just said that. Is that Ange? Are you the one that's afraid of three-way messages? Girlfriend, message me after this. Why are you afraid of three-way messages? But we need to be messaging people and getting our name out there. Also, Ange, I'm so glad you're on this call. I miss you, girlfriend. Okay. Sorry, side note. She was my roommate in Vegas. Like, we hadn't spent any time together, and now we're besties. Okay, but it is so important to do things together, because when you're doing something scary and you know that your diamond uplines are just as scared as you are, that gives you a little bit more hope for what you're about to do, right? We're doing it as a group. We can encourage each other. So, Megan, I'm finished with my portion. If you don't mind, I'm going to give it back to you so you can explain this challenge.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for segueing into that. Can you guys hear me okay? I think that there is too many things on Wi-Fi. Okay. So this is what we do annually at the end of the year. We close it out strong. So we're going to have a strong finish and a strong beginning to 2024. And so what we're going to do is, starting tomorrow, which yesterday was a prep day, today, tomorrow-ish prep day, or restart, isn't there? We're going to give you some specific things to get your lists rolling. So like printing out your Facebook friends list, starting 100, I mean, just handwrite a list. It doesn't matter, but getting intentional. And this is something that we talked about at the retreat also. Like, if you are prepped, your business is going to be so much easier to work. If you have made your lists, if you have prepped yourself, if you have gotten yourself organized. I'm not saying take 3 weeks and organize yourself, like take 3 minutes or whatever, a couple hours, right? And get some, nothing else, work your business by doing hot 20 lists. Are we still good? It says my connection is unstable. Anyways, make sure you're following along on a Momentum Makers group. We're going to be reaching out. This actually ends on January 4th. And the reason why is because a lot of times what happens is we finish out the month strong, all the things, and then it's like we forget that we have a business for the first 2 weeks of the new month. And so we're going to continue in crescendoing through the first few days of January, and also giving yourself some buffer days too, because I know that we have, multiple holiday things, and it's totally still doable to make things happen. Closing out this month strong and starting January super strong. I did want to make a reminder real quick for Super Saturday. If you're not registered, make sure you go register. That's January 11th. It's our second largest event in Plexus. It's a corporate run training. So if you are a business builder and or looking to start a business with Plexus, you definitely want to get your behind to an in-person location or just log on virtually. There's both options, which is fantastic. And if you are coming back or you have people on your team that you think may come back and work the business with you, definitely invite them because it is a great. Carissa, is there anything else that we forgot real quick that you want to chime in?
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think. Nothing pops to mind at the moment. I believe we should just clarify that we're not meeting this coming Tuesday. It's Christmas Eve. So we'll not meet this coming Tuesday. And that's all I've got.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we're going to do some sort of power hours on the very last day, which is New Year's Eve, but that would be in 2 weeks. So that'd be the 31st. Not exactly sure what that's going to look like. I know some of us are hosting parties or attending parties, but sometime throughout the day, we're going to have some opportunities for you guys to plug in and work together to finish out the month strong. Because a lot of you are still working for Bahamas Cruise, earning it and or earning the prizes on that. So the last 6 days of the month of December and the last 6 days of the entire year are often the most momentous, and we by us getting into activity and us getting into action and not assuming, oh, people don't want to start till the new year. They're ready to start. They're ready to buy into a system after their Christmas is past. They're feeling fat and sluggish and fatigued and chubby to order a system, and you want them ordering Plexus, not going to a different company to order products, right? So you need to be Johnny on the spot in the inbox saying, hey, remember we chatted last month or last week or whatever. So that is happening. Looking forward to an amazing end of the year and beginning of new year. Also, Merry Christmas and have a happy new year. Guys, we're so thankful for y'all. Thank you for popping on with us.
Hey, I have a
Thank you,
question real
Bandie.
quick. Wait. I'm getting messages. Is there going to be a group chat for the 100 message challenge, or is it all going to be on one team momentum?
I'm going to create a little chat. That way we
Okay,
can
perfect.
those of us that are
So
actually
everybody that commented that they're in will just get put in there.
added to the chat. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, girls. Bye, everybody.